to tell them what they've done wrong, make them know that they've done something wrong by giving them a punishment, like taking something off them, sending them to bed, grounding them, making them not allowed out, stuff like that.
I remember it vividly to this day. And I'd learned a new word in the playground, and I was having a play fight with my dad. I won't have to say the word, but anyway. And I thought I'd try it out. And I was going through a stage calling everyone a pain, and I went, "You're a pain" to my dad. And whilst it was a tickling fight, it's then turned into a tanning on my backside. And I can remember being totally confused by it and not understanding what had happened. And it was the only time it ever happened, and I spoke to my dad about it recently, and he was really embarrassed by it. So,
do you think he lost his temper?
Yeah, I think he was shocked by what I said, and just made him angry, and lost his temper and he hit me.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can remember being that confused, and I would, because of that, and not understanding why we were having fun, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't, and I got told off and smacked him and sent to my room. It was really confusing for me. It didn't teach me anything. I just didn't understand what I'd done wrong.
Yeah, see, I was smacked. That's the form of discipline that my mum used. And I don't, they're the best parents anyone could wish for. I don't criticise them for that, but I remember being smacked, and I don't remember why I was smacked. I can remember the experience, and I can remember feeling angry and upset, but I can't remember why I was being told off, which is why I don't smack my kids, because I just think, if I tell them off, if they've done something bad, I want them to know why, I want them to remember why they've been bad, not the consequence. I think it would just really, really frighten them.
Yeah. Like, if a child goes to do something that's dangerous, isn't the first priority to remove them from the danger rather than smacking them?
Yeah, and I can remember that feeling of being just really, really cross. It made me want to smack them. It made me really fierce. But I remember.
One of the last smacks I remember, I was 12, and I was really rude to my mum. I really was rude and obnoxious and horrible, and she smacked me. But I remember, not that it hurt, but I just remember being so humiliated because I was 12 and I thought, I've been treated like a child. I haven't been actually told. I deserve to be punished, told off, because obviously that wasn't acceptable. But, not by just a smack. Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember any of the smacks. I know I have been smacked because my parents told me I have.
But it's funny, isn't it? You've got that memory, it's stuck in your mind.
It's just that feeling of being really, and being really disappointed in my parents as well somehow.
Either hitting someone is wrong or it's right. And how is someone hitting someone big, hitting someone small right? It's like the wrong way round, isn't it?
Yeah. How can smacking be a good thing if it's teaching you to fear your parents rather than respect them?
Yeah. I think that smacking escalates quickly as well. If something happens, you tell the child off, it can be over and done with. But if you smack them, like you said, the child is traumatised, the parent has got this massive guilt, so it's carrying it on. And you can deal with things not easily. It's not easy to discipline children, especially when you're tearing your hair out, but it can be done. You don't need to hit them.
Toddler years are so challenging, but things that you say to them and they'll say back to you,
Yeah.
And it's encouraging, like things, when I say, we don't want to hit people because that's not nice. Yeah. And that's things I've told him several times. And he'll say it back now when there's a fight in nursery. He'll come back and say, so and so are fighting, but we don't want to hit people because that's not nice.
Yeah.
So, it's.
Does it? Like either it's wrong or it's not wrong.
Yeah, it says, you can do it, but not too hard.
Just don't leave a mark. Yeah, but what could be hard to a 20-stone man is completely different to a baby. So how can you rationalise just what a tap is to a punch? Like you said, it's either you don't smack them or you do.
And I think
illegal or legal.
Interestingly, all we've talked about, all the effects that we've talked about are not physical. We have not said that we were all walloped
Or
when we were
bruised.
children and
Oh,
we
yeah.
bruised. That's not what we remember. We remember the way it made us feel,
Yeah.
and that's what stayed with us. And you can't measure that with a red mark or anything like that. You can't see that because that's just hidden.
Because the other thing I really remember is the look on my mum and dad's face, and they were cross. They'd lost their temper. And
Yeah.
to me, when I see someone hitting a child, or when I feel like hitting my child, because I'm not saying I don't feel like hitting my children sometimes, but it's when I've lost control. It's
Yeah.
when I'm really angry.
It's never about the child.
No.
It's always about how you feel, and it's almost like an easy 5-second venting.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you say, going down to the child's level and explaining why, and then saying, well, we're not going to the park, or we're not going to, to pictures or something.
Yeah, it's not about no discipline,
And
is it? It's
following
about
through.
different.
Yeah.
Following through, because it takes more time and it's much harder.
Yeah.
But they remember it more.
No, I don't smack our children. I don't think it works really. I think you've lost control when you've smacked your kids. I think you've lost control of the situation. It doesn't set a good example. I don't think it really solves anything. And I don't really want to bring up my kids to be violent. So I think if you show them violence, they might be violent themselves.
The parents not being able to hit the parents, and well, the parents being allowed to hit the children is like, it's not fair. It's like they should just bring in that law for the parents not being able to slap their kids, because if they slap the kids, it's just not. Well, the law between the adults and that is just thinking that the adults are safe, and then the kids are like, well, I'm just going to go and get a slap if I do something wrong.
I say, if my daughter started school a year and a half ago, and she'll come home and she'll say, so-and-so hit me. And I say, well, did you tell a teacher? Did you tell somebody else? Are you hurt? And like, if you then go and hit your child, it's like confused messages. Well, no one else is allowed to hit you, but I can, behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So you're giving them completely mixed messages.
I was speaking to my son about it, and he said, I asked him what he thought, and he said it's not right for big people to hurt little people.
We know in law that that's assault. So what,
Yeah, exactly,
what are the
exactly.
laws on smacking? If you did hit her, then she
I'd be gone.
could go straight down to the police station for assault. But what is the situation with children?
It's not like
Slight red in the
skin.
skin. But if you're cross, if you're hitting your child, it's probably because you're cross with them. And is that the right time to test the force with which you're hitting your child? Because you're cross, I think to a certain extent you've lost control. And how can you tell? And how do we know as grown-ups what is a soft smack? Like, that might be a soft smack to me, but it's not a soft smack for someone who's 2. Who are we to and how can we decide whether that is particularly when you're cross?
Yeah.
It used to be, it's something like, isn't it, 100 years ago you were allowed to hit your servant, your dog, your wife and your child, and now all of those are legal apart from
Illegal.
apart from smacking your child.
Yeah.
Like, the most vulnerable people
Yeah,
in society
exactly.
are allowed to be hit by, the most powerful group in society, which is adults.
Especially, like, adults can stick up for themselves. Like, even if they are, like, vulnerable and they don't like sticking up for themselves, they could if they wanted to. But with kids, we're not as saying, like, I wouldn't stick up to, like, an adult.
How can smacking be a good thing if it's teaching you to fear your parents rather than respect them?
I don't think it's right to hit children because it will hurt them and it will hurt their feelings.
Whereas if you smack them, I think that shows a sense of that you've lost control of the situation, and that your solution to that problem is just to use a sort of outburst of violence, which isn't a great message, I don't think, to your child.
That's why we don't hit people.